Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Boot Nerds podcast. My name is Jeff.
I am also Jeff.
Double Jeff.
Double Jeff. Well, today we once again have the best topic on earth to talk about. You guessed it, it is football boots. Again, if you're out there and you've been with us for 19 episodes, you guys are the real MVPs. And if you are the real MVPs, you should reward yourself by liking this very video you're sat here with so we get happy, we make more stuff so you can watch more stuff. It's all going to be good and good. You should, of course, also tell all of your friends, your entire squad, to go subscribe to the podcast to make the whole community bigger. Of course, don't forget that if you want to listen to this while you do the dishes or you're on your bike or mowing the lawn, whatever you decide to do when you're not playing football, you can go and do so on all your favorite podcast platforms, Spotify's, I guess, Apple Podcast, whatever. The link is in the description down below. And also don't forget that if you have any questions for us that you'd like us to answer, you can put them in the comment section right down below. Now, Jeff, before we get started on the the topic for today, I have a question for you. What on earth are you wearing?
I am wearing quite possibly the world's greatest t-shirt. For those that aren't aware and maybe didn't see the last episode, we are currently at war with two fellow colleagues of JayMike at Unisport, Jolter and PWG, and we're going to win this war. And it's a t-shirt war that requires you guys to go out and purchase a JayMike t-shirt, which you definitely want anyway, so it's not even like we're asking a favor here.
Look at it.
And as you can see, I mean, it is the greatest t-shirt of all time.
That looks like the greatest t-shirt of all time. Is it comfy too, Josh?
Oh my gosh. Jay, you don't understand. It's the most comfortable t-shirt I've ever had in my life. And here's a fun fact that a lot of people don't realize about the three shirts that were made here. There's a Jolter one, a PWG one, and a JayMike one. The JayMike one is the only one that features ACC technology.
Yes. Exactly. So it actually works. That is brilliant. So all the criticism and lame comments, they just glide off me because that totally works. But the beautiful thing about the shirt is that actually, if you want to help us out in winning this war against my fellow colleagues, you can buy this shirt for just 14 euros. I've lowered the price for all of you guys out there. So if you want to do that, Go help a brother out, a fellow boot nerd out, and let's win the war together. And for everyone who buys, I'm going to personally shout you out on my Instagram page, and we might also, if we win, talk about some of you guys on the podcast. So let's go change the... Yeah, never mind.
Link in the description for the t-shirt.
Link in the description for the t-shirt and in the notifications right up there. But, Josh, today we have a much more important matter on hand, which is deciding the top 10 boots on the market right now.
That we should also mention that we are literally right about to make this list because we have not discussed this or talked about this or really anything. It's going to be all on the spot because I feel like that's the only fair way to do it.
Absolutely.
So if we forget something, it didn't deserve to be on the list.
Apparently not. Okay, so let's start from the bottom, shall we?
No, we're not. Okay, I guess we should preface this. This is not in any particular order, I would say.
Oh.
You want to put it in an order? That's going to be...
Let's not put it in.
We don't have like 4 hours, Jay.
Yeah, that's going to be a mess.
Let's just do top 10, and I figure we do it like this. You name a boot, I name a boot. We go back and forth until we start to disagree, and then we'll figure it out from there.
Okay. Then I'm just going to go with the easiest choice for me, Copa 19 Plus.
Copa 19 Plus, I do not disagree. I'm writing it down, by the way, so we don't get completely lost. It's got to be some organization here. Yeah, Copa 19 Plus, most unique leather boot on the market. Probably one of the most unique football boot experiences you can have. Kind of a little bit of a strange looking boot, depending on your opinion, but ultimately very good.
Fantastic.
Cool. All right, I am going to pick. Okay, wait. Just before I make my pick, we're not going to exclude. Do we include something like the Copa Mundial? Or do we just leave that off? Or do the like classics? Yeah, we can include those.
If,
man,
if
then-
they're on sale, I guess if you can buy them on, the big retailers like, for instance, Unisportstore.com, the world's best retailer. Well, I guess then, I think
We
they
could
can
include
technically be included. Yeah, so
That's
why
true.
not?
Okay, I'm gonna pick an easy one. Nike Phantom Venom Elite. Easy.
Okay,
easy
fair enough.
pick.
I'm down with that. Fantastic overall performance, comfortable, nice on the ball, great for shooting, responsive, very aggressive traction. Just an overall amazing boot.
ACC technology, never miss the net, increased power.
Absolutely. All that stuff.
guaranteed goals.
Yes. Okay. We have to mention the Nike Mercurial Vapor 12.
Okay, I agree that definitely needs to be on the list. Do we just lump in the Superfly with that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Let's just say the Mercurial.
Current Mercurial,
Yes.
Vapor and Superfly.
Super tight fit, very responsive, extremely crisp on the ball. Very, very aggressive outsole, brilliant for changing direction. Just an awesome, really fast feeling football boot.
Perfect. That's on the list. Next pick,
Uh-huh.
I am going to pick the X19.1 from Adidas.
Solid, agree.
Okay,
Better than the 19 Plus. Very, very comfortable. Soft and pliable upper. Decent lockdown. Feels very light. Good outsole, I'd say. Decent stud pattern. And a clean connection on the ball. Big striking surface. Not much to not like.
Nope. Good overall boots. All right. Are you going to make a pick
Yes.
that's outside of Nike and Adidas?
I am indeed, my man. I am gonna say, and now things are getting wild. The Puma ONE 19.1.
You know what? Had you asked me this when it was the Puma ONE, I might have fought you on this, but that's a boot that really has grown on me.
Mhm.
And given the changes that they've made, hint, hint, to the Puma Future, I feel like that's the best product on offer from the Puma brand right now. And
Yep,
legitimately very good.
Yes, solid. It's comfortable, elegant on the ball. The sock is amazing. 200 euros. Fantastic value for money. Nothing to not like there.
Really good boot. Although I will say that I personally prefer the low cut version. And that's a really underrated product, but probably not worthy of being a top 10.
Nah, probably not. Probably not.
Okay, I'm going to make another pick off the two big brands, and I'm going to say the Made in Japan Mizuno Morelia Neo 2. Thoughts?
Look, this is very close to the top of my list, so how can I not agree?
Yeah, pretty easy pick, I would say.
Yeah.
One of the best quality, probably I would say the best quality lightweight boot on the market by a long shot.
By a long shot. And now that we're talking by far the highest quality boots on the market, I'm gonna be a little bit cheeky and also say the Mizuno Morelia 2 made in Japan.
Okay, so if we're gonna, I'm gonna put it down on the list right now.
Yeah, but I think it might get pushed out.
It might, because
But let's see.
Because I mentioned the Copa Mundial, and I think the Copa Mundial is great. It's depending on your opinion, the greatest football boot of all time. But when you compare it to something like a Morelia 2, the Morelia 2 just does everything the Copa does better.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? It fits better. It's more comfortable, I would argue. It's certainly a lot lighter. Way lighter. It's like 3 ounces difference.
It's way better put together. It's just the only upside the Copa has is that it's a whole lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. But,
it's half,
but the Morelia 2 is worth paying for.
Yeah, if you're into that kind of classic old school boot, I don't think that there's anything better. Okay, so we are at 7 on this list so far.
Okay.
Look, I feel like a Tiempo Legend needs to be on this list. It's
okay.
Right now, we're going to hesitantly write it down, but
okay.
I feel like I know we talked about in the last podcast that there's nothing about it that's really that incredible or special from an experience standpoint. But when you're talking about just pure performance, it is the best performing leather boot. So how can we not put it on the list? That's my logic with that.
I like the Mizuno boots better from a performance standpoint, but I feel the Tiempo Legend 7 is one of those boots that it does everything right, but it doesn't do it like convincingly right. It doesn't change. It's not a life changer for me. It's not something where I put it on and I think, oh my God, I want to wear this again. I want to wear it for that special feeling. It's a good boot, but for me, it's not like a top boot. But I'll give it to you until we find something that's better.
But Jay, how do we, like, I agree that Mizuno makes some incredible leather boots, but in comparison to a Morelia 2, it's not as responsive, and it certainly offers way less traction than what you'll get from a Tiempo.
Sure,
there's no comparison there. And then to compare a Tiempo to a Morelia Neo, yeah, the Neo's lighter, but there's just not enough leather there for me to say that it's in the same class of boot. For me, I don't know. Like I just feel like they're so different from each other. Like how do you compare? Like you're either going to be a Tiempo guy or a Morelia Neo guy. It's not. I don't think there's a lot of crossover between those two boots.
No, that's true. But if we look at the Tiempo Legend 7, yeah, there's more leather than on the Neo, but how much does that leather actually matter? If we, the Neo is probably cut here, and then it's synthetic leather, where here you get knit. So, I mean, does it really matter? I'm not saying they're the same, but it's just not like this is also a knitted boot with some leather on the forefoot. This is not a fully fledged leather boot. I'll give it to you. Well, let's put it on the list. But let's see where we end up.
Okay. Your pick.
New Balance Tequila.
Okay. I agree with you. And I don't know if that's going to be a popular opinion because it's a boot that most people, it's probably the one boot on this list that the vast majority of people have not tried and probably have not considered and maybe will not ever consider just based on the fact that it comes from New Balance. And it's one of those boots that is a little bit technically flawed in terms of the fit, I would say. I think it is just too wide.
I agree.
But
if they fixed the fit, it would be fantastic.
Yeah, it has that unique experience that you really don't get from any other boot right now. So from that perspective, I think it is a top 10 boot.
I totally agree. It really deserves a spot on the list. So your pick.
Man, we're at 10. This is 10. Can you believe we're at 10? This is going to be impossible.
We're already at 10.
Because we're going to, there's absolutely no, stuff has to change. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I don't think
you have to mention.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
You have to mention the Puma Future. We can't not have
I was just going to say that. You cut me off right as I was about to say Puma Future. I think it's good. But I don't know what your opinion is on this. I don't think it's as good as the 2-1 or the 18-1. I just liked those better. And let's not say that the current Future is bad, but as far as knitted uppers have come in the last 5 years, that's a subpar knitted upper on a $200+ football boot. I'm sorry. And I know it gets softer as you wear them in, and the lockdown is really good, and the net fit system is something that I really like. It's the best technology Puma has right now. I feel like that the knitted upper kind of it took it off this list.
Yeah, maybe we should give an honorable mention to it. I also like it, but I also feel they could do better on the upper. It's like, yeah, But are we ready? I mean, for me, I'd much rather have it on the list than, say, the Phantom Visions. I know that's never going to happen, but I just got to put it on record that for me, it's a top 10 boot rather than the Phantom Visions. I can't have that on my top 10 list, personally.
I'm ready for my pick. My pick for number 10 spot is the Under Armour Spotlight. No, it's not. Jay, it has to be the Vision. The Vision has to be. But does every Nike boot have to be on this list? I know you don't like the Vision, and I guess here's my sales pitch to you for the Phantom Vision. It introduced the most special technology that's actually effective on a football boot in comparison to all the most recent releases. Quad Fit is legitimately that good. Regardless of whether or not you think the boot fits good or you think it's ugly or they added an unnecessary collar, because they absolutely did. The boot performs really well, and the concept and technology that they introduced actually works. And that's not something we see that much from any brand anymore.
Sold, but everything else about it, I just dislike. I dislike the fit. I dislike the sock. I dislike the overall, flimsy feel of the boot. I don't understand the concept, and I don't see why I would choose this boot over any other of the Nike boots, and for that matter, a lot of the Adi boots. So for me, it's just a bit of a experience that I do appreciate quad fit, and I do think you're right in that this is one of the gimmicks that actually turn out to work. And I appreciate that for what it is, but this would never be in the top 10 list of boots that I would go out to put on and feel, okay, it deserves a spot on my list. I would take these boots to a match. Because personally, and I understand that objectively, maybe I'm in the wrong here. I just feel that the quality of the build quality of the boot kind of eliminates all the good done by quad fit. For me, it's just it's a sloppy attempt from Nike at making a really innovative boot. There's so much they could have done to make this nice and premium, and I just feel they've let us down a bit. It feels like a combination of something truly innovative, very high end boot, and then the sock from an academy boot. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like it's a great. The best part of the boot is the part you can't see.
Yeah. And I know we're not going to take it off the list because you really, really like this boot, and I respect that. But
no,
for me, I really...
I'm flexible on this list. And that's the thing. This has to be a collective list. We have to, at the end of this, actually agree. There's no my list, your list. This is the official Boot Nerds list.
Wow. So, okay.
Right?
So I am willing to take off whichever boot you want off the list if we can collectively take off the Phantom Vision.
Okay, well, here's my... I'm not against it. I'm with you up until this point.
Okay.
Here's where I think we move on, because we have 10 right now.
Yes.
I'm assuming you have something else in mind that you think should be on this list.
Yes.
Okay, so put it out there, and then we discuss if something needs to be removed in place of what you're about to suggest.
Nemesis 19.1. I feel it deserves a shout. Because it's one of those boots that when I tried the Nemesis 19 Plus, I was like, it's all right, but I don't love it. I don't love it as much as I think everyone would have hoped that I would love it, especially from Adidas, of course. But I actually like this a lot. I think it's different to the previous boots, and I think it's such a high quality boot that it deserves to be on the list. However, it's also pretty similar to the X. So I don't know if is this too much of the same as the X to be on the list, or is it? I feel from purely looking at a quality and fit performance point of view, it deserves to be on the list. I'm just a little bit torn on the similarity thing with the X. Hit me with your golden thoughts.
Okay, so I agree with you that if X 19.1 is on the list, the X 19.1 is better. If we're just let's classify Nemesis as speed boot. So it's not better than the X, it's not better than the Mercurial, and it's not better than the Morelia Neo 2.
Yes.
Which are the 3 speed boots we currently have on the list. Is it better than the Tequila?
I'd say no. I'd rather the Tequila, to be honest, and even despite the white fit, simply because the Tequila offers something else. And it is, we have to acknowledge when brands like New Balance make very good, comfortable boots like that. Okay.
So, look, we have a couple. Vision, I think, could move. Tiempo could move. And I think Morelia 2, as good as it is, that's a bold choice to have on a top 10 list, because it is, when did that come out? 1985?
Yeah, 84, I think.
84? Right? Like we're talking the latest stuff that's all come out within basically the last year, and we have a boot from 1984 on the list.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
But here's the thing: is the Nemesis 19.1 better than the Morelia 2?
Not by a country mile. It's nowhere close. The Morelia 2, and that's the thing. It's perhaps the most comfortable boot on the market. Period. Like, it doesn't get more like pure comfort-wise, it doesn't get better than that. Your feet will never have felt as good as they will in a pair of made in Japan Morelia 2s. With that said, like we also gotta think about, general what's the word in English? Like appeal, general appeal to the masses. What will the masses prefer from a modern football boot? Will they like the Morelia 2 more than the Nemesis 19.1? I don't personally think so. It's a bloody shame, but I don't personally think so.
Yeah, but the general population doesn't. They're not all boot nerds. The boot nerds know. If you're watching this podcast, you know the law. You understand this logic. I don't think anyone's like listening to this and saying, oh, these guys are crazy for thinking that the Morelia 2 is way better than a Nemesis 19.1.
It's true, but can we justify this? Can we justify not putting this on the list instead of the Morelia? I mean, I want to keep the Morelia 2 on the list. I think it deserves to be there because it's one of the best built, best fitting, feeling boots on the market. Although it is a little.
Okay, no, it's our list. Everyone can deal with it. It's our list. Morelia 2 stays on. I agree with you.
Are you happy with the Morelia staying?
I'm fine, but do you think is a Nemesis 19.1 better than a Tiempo or a Vision?
I'd put this in instead of the Vision.
Instead of the Vision.
I would argue that this for me also utilizes if the Vision is there because of modern technology. This could also deserve to be there because of the use of modern technology. I just feel that as a boot, it does better holistically than the Vision because this actually, it does something nice for the fit, the feel of the boot because of the technology. It's nice and light. And there's basically, I have nothing bad to say about the Nemesis apart from the fact that it is a little bit stiff at first, but that's no biggie very quickly. I do, however, have a lot of little niggles and issues with the Vision. So for me, it's a swap. But I also respect that you like the Vision a lot. So
yeah, I really like the Vision. I think it's deserving of being on this list. But with the Nemesis 19.1, if it wasn't just a heavier X, then I could live with it. But I feel like the X 19.1 is on that list. And if we have an X 19.1 and a Nemesis 19.1, those are two very similar products where ultimately we both agree that one is better than the other, where the Phantom Vision stays on this list and there's nothing else on this list that is like a Phantom Vision.
But should it be on the list just because it's unique or should it be on the list because it's good? Like, which of the two boots here would you go out and put on your feet? I know my choice would be very, very easy. Spoiler alert, It's the Nemesis. But I think, like, when we're talking top 10 boots, it should be the boots that we can just go out and say, okay, these are the 10 boots that we would wear over any other boot on the market. And I know you'd probably pick the Vision, and I'm cool with that. Let's leave out the Nemesis.
Well, no, wait. No, let me just add this little stipulation here.
Okay.
Nobody would ever even think to bring up the Nike Premier 2. We both really like that boot.
Yes.
Would you rather wear a Nike Premier 2 or a Nemesis 19.1?
I'd probably personally rather wear the Nemesis 19.1
Okay,
because of the fact that the outsole on the Premier 2 for me is too soft. It's too flexible and I don't get the responsiveness I want, nor the stability and all that stuff. I love the upper. I love the value you get for your money at the price point, but the outsole ruins it for me to be on a top 10 list.
Okay. You know what, Jay? I like the Vision, but I'm not going to argue with you. I think I agree with you that Nike made a lot of dumb decisions on that boot.
Okay.
There's as much good stuff as there is. There's as many dumb things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we take that out and replace it with the Nemesis.
Yeah, the Illuminati might not like us for that, but it's fine. We'll do it. So we're going to throw Nemesis 19.1 on the list, and I want to bring up something we haven't brought up until this point, which is the Predator. Those exist.
They do exist. I feel the Predator has too much ground to cover up. For me, it's a bit like the Tiempo. It's a nice boot, but it's just not special enough. It doesn't do enough to warrant being on the list because all the things that the Pred does, other boots do as well. It's comfortable. Yeah, the Copa does that. It has a nice laceless fit. Yeah, the Copa does that too. It has a lovely texture on the ball. Hell, even the Visions does that as well. So I think the Pred is kind of lacking in that special USP. just like the Nemesis 19 Plus for that matter, it's just not special enough comparing it to the other options from the brand. I don't mind the Nemesis, but for me, it's not anywhere close to a top 10.
Okay.
What do you feel here?
No, I'm with you on that. I just don't think there's nothing defining about it. It's just a knitted upper that feels pretty good, and everything else is unextraordinary.
And I think what the Predator has done for laceless technology and knitted boots and all that stuff is fantastic. I think it really was a turning point for Adidas, and it taught them so much that has led to the Copa, for instance. I mean, so in that regard, we can really thank the Predator for what it is. But I think, it's ready for a makeover.
Yeah,
for me.
I'd like to see something radically different.
I'm going to throw a cheeky one in the mix here, right?
Okay.
I'm not going to mention the New Balance Furon because it's a decent speed boot, but we have so many good speed boots on the list that it doesn't deserve to be anywhere near it. It's too heavy. Studs aren't aggressive enough. That's the way it is. What about the Lotto boots, Solista and Maestro?
I was just thinking, the Solista, no. Just because I don't think that the synthetic is there yet.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not. The Maestro...
You know what? I'd probably look into a cheeky way of putting it on my top 10 list. I love it that much. To be fair, the quality isn't quite there. The build quality, the quality of the materials. But I think it's a cheeky shout, at least, for a spot. It's
a great boot. Would you pick it over the Nemesis 19.1?
Honestly? I might.
You might, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think it'd be cool to have a Lotto on the list.
Yeah.
It seems like the cool kid thing to do.
And we are pretty cool kids, right? I mean,
you're wearing
the coolest t-shirt in the world.
The coolest. So look, I guess
here's
here's the argument for the Lotto. We put the Lotto on the list. What else is like that boot? Nothing. It's its own thing. But we got this Nemesis that's basically just a worse version of the X.
And I'd argue the Lotto boots are comfier. I don't know if they're lighter, but it's close. The outsole is actually, I'd say, similar. It's way cheaper. You get much more value for money. And while it's slightly, the build quality isn't as good, I'd say it's sufficient. And it just gives you everything you get in a Nemesis, just cheaper.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you.
Let's do another swap.
Okay, Nemesis is off. Wow, that was like 20 minutes of Nemesis arguing that just goes out the window.
Why didn't I just suggest Maestro from the get-go to get rid of the vision? Okay.
Okay.
We have a list. It's official.
Does anything from Umbro matter enough right now?
No. Medusa, laughable comparing it to the Copa. The Medusa 3 Pro is nice, but not top 10 material.
And do we both agree that the Rebula is good, but not there?
Yes. I think the Rebula 1 was fantastic, especially the Made in Indonesia version. The Rebula 2 needs some refinement. I have high hopes for if they eventually make a Rebula 3, because, hopefully they've learned from what didn't work on the Rebula 2. But let's see. I mean, it needs refinement for me, yeah.
Okay, so are we good? Is this the list?
I think this is the list. I think we should close it off.
I will now read the top 10 official Boot Nerds list of the best boots currently available. I'm sure nobody will have a different opinion than us down below in the comments. And if you do have a different opinion, you're wrong, unfortunately. So, in no particular order, the Copa 19 Plus from Adidas. I feel like we should insert clapping sounds. This is they're winning. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. At number 2, the Nike Phantom Venom Elite. Well deserved. At number 3, the Nike Mercurial Vapor 12 and Superfly 6 Elite.
Hey, yo, yay, man.
Excellent. At number 4, the Adidas X 19.1.
Yes. X marks the spot.
This is great. Number 5, the Puma ONE 19.1.
Oh, the one and only.
I guess we should specify the leather version of that boot.
The leather, of course, yeah.
Okay, good. Number 6, the made in Japan Mizuno Morelia Neo 2. Excellent boot.
Slow clap because it's awesome.
Yes. Probably the one boot nobody would have expected unless you are a true boot nerd, because I feel like true boot nerds would have picked this, the made in Japan Mizuno Morelia 2. Very underrated.
Stand up. Fantastic boot.
At number 8, which it's actually a little bit surprising that we had to even think about this, but it is on the list, the Nike Tiempo Legend 7 Elite. Did you forget about that one? Small clap. Small clap. And then at number 9, we have the New Balance Tequila 1.0 Pro, now technically V1.
Spasiba.
And then, perhaps most controversially, not the Phantom Vision, not the Nemesis 19.1, but the Lotto Maestro 200.
Molto grazie. Fantastic.
They made
Great
it.
value for money.
I'm really hoping for a Lotto comeback in the next year, because they were,
That would be wicked,
man, they were
wouldn't it?
just one of the coolest brands when I was a kid.
Totally agree. Now, Josh, we've established the official Boot Nerds top 10 boots on the market list right now. So what we should do right now is go answer some questions.
Answer some questions.
Yes. I have one here from Alejandro Bucaro. Why does Messi use Nemesis when X is basically the F50 which he used to wear? And it's a good question. I think it's money and the fact that Adi really wants to push the Nemesis, but I think Messi would be just as happy in the X.
Yeah, he would be just as happy in the X. There's really no reason why Messi couldn't wear the X. But Adidas, similar to Nike, they really want to have that fourth line for some reason.
Yeah.
And Adidas really uses it as their experimental line. And you would think that maybe Messi would be a big enough name to kind of front a kind of weird boot like the Nemesis. But up until this point, that hasn't exactly worked. We'll see what happens. I think that if he was in the X, it would be a lot better for the brand, personally.
I totally agree. He should be in the X. I mean, Nike, they have Cristiano, Neymar, Mbappe in the Mercurial. Adi should slap Messi in the X and be done with it, is what I feel.
It seems like it would make sense.
Okay. Do you from Fabio Enrico Pero? Do you guys think it would be a good idea to use Adidas Boost as a striking element? He would like to get 10% of the money for that. I'm sorry, my man. I don't think there will be much to get 10% from. I don't see that working. I understand why you asked the question, but I don't see working simply because Boost will absorb more energy that it will return. So it will basically just make the shot weaker.
Is that actually true, though? Is that the technical information?
That
it absorbs more
energy?
than it returns?
Have you ever?
No. But I'm saying, like, from a scientific perspective, is it actually Adidas? Have they stated that it absorbs more energy than it returns? Because I thought that was kind of the whole point, is that it absorbs the energy and then gives it back better than any other material ever.
Fair point. I don't know about that, but the thing is that, maybe it's actually true. I'm just thinking about the ball, the metal ball, but it actually bounces pretty high now. Maybe I'm left with egg on my face here.
Yeah, all I'm thinking is, like, I immediately thought of the Puma PowerCat 110 that had kind of the inserted dampening. I forget what the material was specifically, but it was supposed to be something in regards to energy return when striking the ball. And I remember really liking the way that those felt when striking the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing with Boost is when you wear a Boost shoe for the first time, you're really kind of, I think, almost overwhelmed and surprised at how bouncy it feels. Because it really does like compress a lot, but then it bounces back to its original shape really quickly.
Yeah.
But there's also really not a lot of sensation of feel underneath your feet.
True,
like it really seems to like dampen whatever's there. So my concern when striking a ball is, maybe it'll compress if it's thick enough, but that's going to make it so you can't feel the ball very well.
I
don't
think that's
know.
a much better argument than mine, completely ignoring the fact that the boost actually returns a lot of energy. So go suck on that, Jay. Just ignore everything after good morning, because that was clearly wrong. I got ahead of myself there. I think you're right in the fact that for boost to be I'm also still sleeping. For boost to be efficient enough, right? It needs to be rather thick. Like we feel it in the pred. It's not very thick and it's not very effective. So for it to be thick enough, it would need to be very, very thick, and that would be very, very silly to have on a boot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Predator insole is a great example. One single layer of boost, which is really all they would realistically be able to put on an upper in the form of a striking element, I don't think would make for that big of a difference. I think it would just be one of those weird things.
Yes, I totally agree on that. Totally agree on that. Okay, one more question here. Which one is better, X19 Plus or the 19.1? Now, let's just go over this very quickly because we've talked a lot about the X19 Plus and the 19.1. If you like the completely, barefoot, nothing in the way, laceless sensation, the 19 Plus is very, very good. However, if you like an adjustable fit, lockdown, 19.1 is the way to go. And I'd say it is generally the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. To me, what makes a speed boot is the tightness and the lockdown and the responsiveness, and the laced version just does all of that better. So, I mean, if you like the laceless thing, the X19 Plus is by no means bad, but if you're looking for objectively the best speed boot, it's the 19.1.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I have a question here from Hernan. Do you think Nike will ever bring back a thin Teijin synthetic upper to a boot? And I thought about the question, and I understand why you ask it, but the thing is, they're not going to bring it back because it's still here. It's actually still on the Vapor 12 Pro. So that's nice. It's still here.
Unofficially, because they don't technically label it as Teijin.
No.
But it's pretty well feels. I wouldn't say that it's like exactly as nice or as premium.
No.
But it's about 97% there.
Yes. And like we've discussed earlier, Teijin isn't like the name of the synthetic. It's the factory, the brand of synthetic that makes the synthetic. So, for instance, on the older vapors, the material, the synthetic itself was called Teijin OLM, and then a number 12 or 15, depending on how thick it was. I'm not sure what this Teijin material is called, but it is the manufacturer, not the material itself. So there will probably be a difference from the Vapor 11 Teijin synthetic to the Vapor 12 Pro 1.
You know what? I just thought of something that I never thought of, and maybe you know the answer.
Uh-huh.
Do you think Nike was having to pay like a licensing fee to use Teijin synthetic? Like just to have that in the name? Because
potentially, yeah.
It almost seems like Nike's really gone away from having any kind of like third-party company branding on their products. Like Pour On Foam used to be on everything with their insoles. And do they have to pay to have Pour On's name on there? I wonder.
Probably.
Because if they had to pay Teijin, the Teijin company, for all those Mercurials over the years, man, that company made bank.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Especially because they also make synthetics for every man and his dog out there. So,
Yeah, pretty much. So,
yeah.
Huh.
Good question.
Good question. I hope they bring it back.
Yeah. There's a question from, I can't, seriously, my eyesight is failing me here. Whale Yums, when you guys started playing, did you know you wanted to collect boots? Did you try to go pro? And if you did, how far did you get? I never tried going pro because I knew I sucked too hard, and I think I've made it far further than I should have. I didn't know I was going to collect boots either. I just really happened to realize that I like it.
Yeah, I mean, the collecting boots thing, like, I honestly have to say that if I was not in the position that I am now in terms of reviewing products, I don't think I would have a lot of boots, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it to be a collection, because I probably wouldn't, if I didn't have the money or an excuse to spend money on a bunch of unnecessary football boots, I probably wouldn't really go after the super limited stuff. I would just buy the boots that I really wanted to wear and kind of leave it at that. So I'd probably have a lot of boots, but I'm not sure that I would be like a collector where I'd have a lot of stuff that I just left in the box or something like that. As far as going pro, I live in Canada, man.
You'd have a better chance of going pro at hockey.
Yeah. Like I've told the story on my channel before, but it's not a realistic career path here, I would say.
No.
So I can't say that I really gave it a solid try at going pro, and I'm not sure that would have been a good choice in my life.
Yeah, that's how it is.
But to be fair, I think both of us, if we really tried, we'd probably both be playing for, I don't know, probably Real Madrid right now or something.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. I mean, look at the face on your shirt.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the face of a pro. That's the face of a man who means business. Like, okay,
incredible.
I think what we're gonna do here is, because I can see that, and it's a little bit unprofessional, but my sound recorder is actually running out of battery here. So for the sake of having one continuous podcast, I think we should do one more question and then round it off, because otherwise I'm just gonna fall out at some point.
Yeah, we're right on normal time, anyways.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So Nicholas Hanan, however you pronounce that. What if Tiempo goes in the direction of Mercurial, having the Elite as a different material to the previous versions, with the Pro version having the traditional material, as in Mercurial Pro being Tahitian synthetic, as we talked about, Nicholas knows, and the Elite being Flyknit, Tiempo Pro being K-leather, and the Elite being something else. And there was a very funny follow-up comment, what should the what should the Elite then be? And someone said, penguin leather, and I really enjoyed that. So, good on you. But what should the Elite be? I mean, I'd understand it. For me, it would be totally, completely, utterly corrupting the Tiempo and everything it stands for. But, I mean, I'm open to suggestions. It might work. But what?
Yeah, I mean, if Nike were to do that, it's like people would be upset. Like hardcore Tiempo guys would be upset, but ultimately it would be kind of good for the average consumer because you'd be getting the Tiempo you want at a takedown model price, right?
Yes.
Which is kind of what you get right now with the Pro. The Pro is 90% of what you get with the Elite currently.
Exactly, at a much better price.
But I mean,
but what should the Elite be? I mean, what can it be?
That's the thing, right?
That's not leather.
It could be
K-leather.
Not K-leather. Well, they have played around with the goat leather thing, and the Lunar Gato 2 did just come back. So it's possible that it could be goat leather. And the only reason why I say that is because they could probably come up, Nike's pretty smart with the marketing stuff. They could probably come up with some pretty clever stuff with just having the word goat associated with their boot.
But still, would you, and be honest here, would you go out and pay top dollar for a goat leather boot rather than a K leather boot, which is cheaper? Like, who in their right mind would do that?
If it was good, I get what you're saying, Jay, but like realistically, aside from calf leather and kangaroo leather, what other leathers have realistically been explored in the football boot market? And maybe that's going to be Nike's angle, where it's like, oh, we made this boot out of crocodile, or I don't know, crocodiles probably aren't that soft actually, but you get what I'm saying. Some kind of animal that's not, and that's kind of their weird spin, because Adidas kind of tried it when they were doing Taurus leather and Golio leather, and the amount of people that were asking me what kind of animal a Taurus is was shocking. But yeah, they basically just took calfskin leather and then called it something else.
Yeah. That's the way it goes. But I think, and maybe you're right in the sense that they're going to go for some other, should we say, traits or abilities, something on the leather. You know, maybe it's more moldable, or it's easier to slap stuff on, or I don't know, that they can work with the leather differently than what they can do with K leather. And goat leather is still soft, and it's very durable. I don't know. It could be taken in a different direction. Goat leather is a good idea, but I'm just not sold on it before I see it.
As long as it's leather and as long as it's soft, I'm not too like, I don't really care if it's kangaroo leather or penguin leather or zebra leather or whatever leather.
Probably for the sake of Nike and, being sued by everyone on planet Earth, especially in these climate conscious times, I wouldn't do zebra leather.
Probably not a good one. No, probably
don't do it, Nike. Don't do it.
But if you do, I want 10%.
Absolutely. For me too. For me too. Always 10%. Okay, so solid questions this time around, guys. Don't forget that if you want us to answer more of your questions, and I hope you do, because it's really fun, you should leave them in the comment section right down below. Once again, thank you so much for listening along with us for these 40-something minutes, rambling on about football boots as we do. Don't forget that if you want to hear more about football boots, there's this guy called Jason, occasionally also sometimes Jeff and other weird names. Joseph.
Depends on the
times.
time.
He does some pretty cool stuff. You can go and follow his channel if you click the link right over there. Now, if you want to follow the other Jay at Unisport, you can also go and follow our channel by clicking the green bubble somewhere over here. And finally, do not forget to subscribe to the best podcast on YouTube, talking about football boots every week. There's audio-only versions. All you have to do is click the subscribe button, hit the notifications bell button, and you are all solid. Also, of course, don't forget to support us in the war against Jolter and PWG by buying the t-shirt. Link is going to be in the description. And with that said, guys, like the video, subscribe, spread the word, ask some questions. And I think with those words, we're signing off. I'm JayMike, and I approve this message.
To quote JayMike, thank you for watching the Boot Nerds Popcast. Later.
Popcast. Later.